Today I'm going to demonstrate some of the new features that we've added in Mixbus version 4.3, but more importantly I'm going to talk about the keyboard layout of our default shortcuts and how we've put all the most important features right under your fingertips here. So we've really focused on the things that people do all the time. So I'm going to start off talking about markers, and we use the Tab key to drop a new marker because it's a bigger key and it's easy to hit, and then the Q and W keys to jump between the markers. So for example, as I'm rolling I can hit Tab, create a new marker, create a new marker, create a new marker, and now when I stop and rewind back I can skip back to those previous markers, and there's a preference that automatically pops up and prompts you for a name as well. Now immediately after the Q and W marker keys, you've got the E, which switches you to the internal edit tool. And the internal edit tool is used when you want to change the internal contents of a MIDI section, for example. So now I'm working inside the contents of this MIDI region. I can grab notes, I can move them up and down, I can use the mouse wheel to change their velocity. Now we have the range tool. If I switch to the range tool, I'm grabbing time ranges across one or multiple tracks, which I can then delete or split into separate pieces. Now in the next row we start off with the A key, and this is a new feature that we've added in Mixbus 4.3. So if I grab, for example, a range and I want to listen just to this range, for example, let's say I want to hear exactly what's being said in this little portion.
Over here in the gymnasium,
I can press the A key and it plays only what I've selected on the timeline. So we call that the audition action. I can select a piece, audition it, and then maybe delete it, maybe trim it. We also have the S key, which is our split key. So if I make a selection and press S, I've now split this into 3 pieces. So with the range tool I can separate, but I can also just split by selecting a region and clicking the S key everywhere I point the mouse. So I can split this into pieces. D key is also used for MIDI editing, and this is for drawing MIDI regions. So I'm going to press D, I'm going to draw a MIDI region, and then I can write notes directly into the MIDI region. The D key is also useful for writing automation. So if I choose to show, I don't know, maybe this fader, I can use the draw function to draw my automation curve. Okay. Next up is the G key, and the G is my grab tool. So if I press G, I can now select regions. I can adjust their fade in and fade out. Now I also have the Z key. Now this is also changed slightly in Mixbus version 4.3. So I can make a selection and press Z, and it automatically zooms to fill the screen with the selection. Now that's always worked that way, but if I press Z again, this will zoom out successively each time I press Z until I can see the entire session. But if I zoom in a bit and make a selection, even if it's multiple channels, so let's make a range selection like this, and I press the Z key, now that zooms in to that area. Let's see, I can zoom in here, and now just press the Z key again. So the idea is that we've really made a dense area with the most important key commands and the tools right here under your fingertips. So whether you're right-handed or left-handed, you can use a mouse in one hand, and just a few key commands get you to the really important features, things like listening to stuff, splitting it and separating it, moving around the markers on the timeline, switching between the tools like the range tool, the grabber tool, the edit tool, and the draw tool. We put all that in a very small area of the keyboard, and they have mnemonics that make sense. So Z for zoom, A for audition, S for split. So we've really honed in on the things that need to be focused and clear for Mixbus editing.